everybody. Welcome to the 7th episode of Left Culture Podcast. My name is Chris, your host as always, and we are back from a bit of a rescheduling break. Tonight I'm joined, as almost always, by Nick and Joe. How are you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good, I can't complain.
That's good. Happy
Hey
New Year.
Chris.
Hey Joe.
Hey Chris.
What's up?
I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Except for Nick didn't want to sing the 007 theme song, so I'm kind of sad about that. But
We'll
Oh
make
man,
up
I'm
for
not
it.
down for that.
Got
he didn't want to
some-
use his Linkin Park screamo voice for us tonight. So
Oh well, we've got plenty to cover. Hopefully cheer you up a little bit, get that fixed. Gonna begin today's episode of the podcast by talking about the games we've been playing, getting back into the routine, all that kind of fun stuff. Nick, why don't you start us off this week?
Nothing but WoW. That's really about it.
Not
So
bad.
I mean, we'll get more into that later, but
That we will.
yeah,
So,
just
I too have
been
been
playing a
WoW.
lot of the pre-patch and stuff for Legion. So
Enjoying it?
yeah, a lot actually. Having a good time.
That's
So.
good. Me too. But we'll get in further detail about that a little bit later on in the show. How about you, Joe? What have you been up to?
yeah, I've been playing more Overwatch. Last weekend I really took a dive. I probably got like 40 levels at least in the past few days, so I've been kind
Yeah.
of cruising.
You surpassed me, so
Yeah. Yeah, you guys were I was like I think like in the mid 40s, and then you guys were around 50 or 60 maybe? Or you got
I'm
not
at
there
like
yet?
79 right now.
Okay,
78,
yeah.
somewhere around there.
So you guys are a good like 20 levels ahead of me. And I think I'm past that now.
Yeah, you're close. You're
Um,
getting closer to like 100, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty close to 100. I actually said that Sunday night I was gonna stay up till I got to 100, and then my responsibility kicked in, and
Damn, that
I did not
responsibility.
stay up till 100. Yeah, so we're close.
Oh,
Maybe
well,
this weekend.
things happen. Yeah, still having fun with Overwatch.
Yeah, I think the game is definitely adding some cool stuff. I think they're definitely testing a lot of things out. I've been knocking them a lot just because I'm hypercritical of Blizzard all
Yeah,
the time, anyways.
very true.
But I still think it's a really good game. I just think that if they keep going on with this, we're gonna cater to everyone audience thing. It's just gonna keep drawing away from their games and not making them reach their full potential. You know?
Yeah, well, full
So
potential for your part of the demographic anyway.
yeah,
Something we discussed a little bit on the podcast before, but we can certainly go into it when we talk about Overwatch in specific or in detail, depending on which turn of phrase you prefer.
you turning phrases on me.
Always. Gotta have fun with
Oh,
language,
wow.
man.
Language.
For myself, been playing more GTA still. Played a little bit of Jackbox Party Pack with the Lawrence crew the other night when we did our community stream night. That was pretty fun. We also played this free game, or it's free on Steam at least, in early access called Zero G Arena. It's a fun little game. You have a grappling hook and handful of different guns, and you just fly around and shoot each other. It's a fun little like arena shooter. And been playing Overwatch still when I can, when I feel like it. And I also checked out Overcooked before it went live, which is a neat little 4-player co-op game all about being a chef in a hectic kitchen. And it's the kind of game where you yell at your friends a lot because you're under the pressure of a time limit and the pressure to perform. So yeah,
Sounds interesting.
it's a lot of fun. There's the Achievement Hunter guys have played it, and I don't think the Funhouse people have yet, but they're the ones that turned me on to it. And then I played it with my brother when he was up, and we actually had a lot of fun with it. And we didn't
I
yell
feel
at
like
each
that's a
other too
friendship
much.
ruiner
Oh, it
type
can
of
be.
game.
Yeah. Like if you're sitting there, you're trying to get an order out before the timer runs out, and somebody burns the onion soup because they weren't paying attention to it, and you miss the order, and then you get docked points, and you don't get your 3-star rating. Yeah, it gets pretty tense. But
I have to try that sometime.
it's one of those like hectic fun games. No online multiplayer yet. Don't know if they plan
Oh,
on adding it.
that's
It's a couch co-op
unfortunate.
game.
Cross that off my list.
You never know. Have some people over, play some couch co-op games. It's always a
Good.
lot of fun. It's something I had missed that had went away for a little bit, and we're starting to see it come back, which is nice. But unfortunately, now that I'm older and have moved away, my brother's in school now, the amount of people that I can play couch co-op games with is dwindling as the number of games go up, ironically. But that's life. Yeah, other than that, been editing, working. Happy to be back podcasting.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Finally.
Yeah, gonna get back on the train and doing them regularly, back at our same time, same place, following this week because of special circumstances. But yeah, I guess with that, we'll dive into our first section that is, well, our second section, our first news section. Same as it's always been. What's new in Overwatch? What Blizzard's changing up? All that kind of fun stuff. First thing is Gamescom is going on right now, which is a gaming convention over in Germany, I believe.
Correct.
Right? Correct? Yeah, Germany.
That is correct.
And we've gotten a couple...
That is correct.
Sorry. It's alright. We've gotten a couple new tidbits of information out of Blizzard at Gamescom. The first being the Bastion short, the Bastion Focus short, called The Last Bastion, which is actually airing tomorrow.
I was gonna say I didn't know if that was out yet or what was going on with that because I knew about it. But...
Yeah, time zones are weird. I meant to look up the specific time that it's going to air on their website, but I forgot to do that. But yeah, it says it's releasing the 18th, so I'm looking forward to giving that a watch. Their shorts have been really good so far. I'm curious as to what they're going to teach us about Bastion. And
there's got to be
there
definitely has to be like memes in there somewhere. I feel like if they don't put any sort of memes, I'll be very disappointed.
How do you mean memes?
Like all the hate towards Bastion.
Oh,
you
just want to see him
since
get
the
roasted
start
in
of the
his own
game.
video.
Essentially, yeah. Like I don't know.
You want to see somebody get
Pretty
pissed
cool.
off at a Bastion sitting in a corner somewhere and just go ape shit
Yes,
on
like
it.
that would to me that would be perfect. I don't care what would happen in the rest of the video. They've all been great, but I would like that because it'd be really funny to me. But
given the previews of the new map, which is the second bit of information we've seen released from Gamescom so far, you might get your wish because the map is littered with the Bastion units from the Omnic War. So if we see any bit of that, you're gonna most likely see some dead Bastions, good or bad.
I like that it's a castle. I only saw like the little picture of it, and I'm like, okay, that's cool.
It looks sweet.
I have faith that they'll make a good map with that.
Yeah, I have the little preview going up right now. The map is called, I can't speak German, so I apologize ahead of time. Where'd it go? Eichenwalde, something like that. Again, I apologize. I just butchered that. Don't speak German. But yeah, it looks neat. It's a map that was a point of contention during the Omnic Wars, by the sounds of it. Takes place in Germany. We see lots of little like rusted Bastion units on the ground. All sorts of cool little things. I love the look of it. It looks like it's going to be a lot of like tight fighting for the most part, and lots of opportunities to run in buildings and flank.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it looks gorgeous, but it's we'll see how well it plays.
Yeah, it's funny. The winding castle bits almost remind me of Cobble a little bit.
Yeah, it looked a little bit like that. Not exactly, obviously, but
yeah, I was just like, I got some flashbacks to that, and I was just like, oh god, not another Cobble.
That's one of the things I was looking at the other day. It'd be really cool to record like some kind of fly-throughs for some of these maps, and I wish there was a better way to do that. You know, because some of the maps are really awesome looking. Getting some of that B-roll from the maps would be really helpful for the community, I think.
Yeah. They've mentioned in the past how they want to definitely work on their spectator toolkit, so maybe that'll be something that we see down the line once they decide to implement some more things. But yeah, do you guys have any thoughts on the map other than what we've already discussed?
no, that's really about it. I mean, we'll see how it plays. Oh, I mean, that's really all I care and I'm worried about.
Yeah, that'll be a really big part of it, is seeing how it plays. I have faith. I don't think Blizzard would announce a new map, show it off, if they weren't fairly happy with how it's going to be playing. I mean, we'll see once we finally get our hands on it.
In probably like 6 months, because Blizzard.
Well, I mean,
I don't know,
CS
the new...
did that.
Yeah. The new
They would launch like
sorry, go ahead.
how many times has Overpass launched? You know, like
Yeah.
so. I mean that's normal. It's a map. You see how people play it. You get your users to test it, and then you fix it.
Mm.
So
Yeah, really, that's no matter how much internal testing they do, this map's not going to see any sort of real, what's the word, stress until you put it under thousands and thousands of players.
Oh,
So,
for sure.
yeah, they'll find all the flaws, they'll find all the jump boosts, they'll find the spots where they can like TP through it as Reaper and all sorts of crazy stuff you'd never expect. But that's part of the process. It's interesting because it looks like what most of the speculation is, and what I tend to believe as well, that it starts off as a payload map, and then it looks like it becomes a capture point. And we don't have a map that's like that. We have one that's the opposite, which is King's Row. So I'm curious to see how this reverse one will work out. I don't know how you guys feel about having a payload first and then a hold point potentially.
it'd be interesting to see how it works. I mean, well, I'm like, you know, I'm a very kinesthetic person, so I don't really understand it. I feel like I have to play it and do it. But I think, you know, from the way King's Row works, I think sometimes it can be tough to get that payload right away.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's like they feel like putting that thing at the end might make it like a giant epic battle. Like sometimes that secondary point is, or that last point is on the payload.
Yeah,
You
that'd be
know?
pretty cool.
So, yeah.
Looks like it's gonna have plenty of choke points, just
Yeah.
based off the little windy streets and all that they showed. So I'm excited. I'm gonna go ahead and let myself be held on to the fact that they'll hopefully have this up in time for season 2. I won't be too disappointed if it's longer than that, but it looks like it's almost done just based on what they've showed us. So hopefully we'll see it at least get on the PTR soon, and then we'll be able to get our hands on it and tinker with it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna put it in competitive season 2, I want them to throw it out there before the season starts,
Yeah.
to get all, you know, like the kinks and stuff settled out.
Like queuing up, because you can't electively queue. So, right? Like that's what you're saying, is you'd rather have it out there and know what's
Yeah.
going on with it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, since this is the first map that they've released since launch, which I don't know, I'm kind of happy with the pacing. I imagine some people would have liked to have seen maps sooner, but the game still has only been out for a couple months now, right? It hasn't been out that long.
When they come out May, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
May. So yeah, it's been 3 months. We're already getting a new map. We've already gotten our first new hero. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that pacing. Hopefully they'll be able to keep it up. But with this being their first new map, I'm curious if they're going to allow it in competitive play at all when they first release it, or if it's going to be quick play only for a little bit and then they add it to competitive, or if they'll feel like they've done enough testing on the PTR to release it in both straight away.
I mean, to me, it seems like a lot of things they do revolve around, you know, the competitive decisions and stuff. So I would expect it to be in competitive.
Yeah. I think depending on the timetable for PTR, I'd have no problem with them just releasing it straight to competitive once it's gone through enough testing.
Oh yeah, that's my big thing with anything competitive. We got to make sure it goes through testing enough first.
What are your thoughts on this, Joe?
An introduction to the map.
Yeah.
You know, like I think what Nick said is spot on. You know, I don't necessarily love the fact that you can't electively queue, but I also do get that, you know, because there's only so many maps. But I kind of think that's kind of how, at least in games I played growing up, you know, it was that you would find your map that you liked and you really learn how to play based on that map, you know, and then you'd adapt those kind of things and become more versatile as you learn more maps. But I think that, you know, kind of introducing those maps and figuring them out beforehand with the structure they have is imperative, because, you know, if you have a map where there's a bunch of glitches and people are winning, there's going to be a shit ton of people that are pissed off because you can't put together a map that works, especially when there's ranks involved. So, you know,
Yeah.
that's kind of
For
where
sure.
it's at.
Yeah, I just hope they don't release it too soon. Thankfully, we have
Yeah.
a little bit of experience with Blizzard launches or soft launching through PTRs, so we know that it's going to have some time on there. I just hope that it has enough time on it for them to find all the kinks, essentially.
Yeah, and so far I've been really impressed with everything they've done. as far as matching the stat sites with their own launches and just the ability to be responsive.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
their
a lot of people
responsiveness is
were really
great.
impressed with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
like when they were getting DDoS the other day, you were saying like Blizzard CS is on top of it, and I've talked to a couple other people who are like, yeah, I'm always talking to them on Twitter and stuff like that. So I think that's a big important thing is they've really done social well with this
Yeah,
community.
yeah.
Uh,
Last time we were
Yeah,
live, we were talking about Pokemon Go and how poorly Niantic's done in terms of talking to their community, and if they want to learn from somebody, learn from Blizzard, because Blizzard typically does a pretty damn good job. And even just apart from talking to people, is listening to their community, seeing what kind of features they want and where that should be on their priority list. It's just been
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I agree with that because I think the structure of how like businesses that are thriving right now, I think, are the ones that are extremely open. You know, they're very transparent about what they're doing, where their money's going, and I think the more you are about that, and especially in the game development process, where the expectation is so high, and um, you know, there's so many games coming out so fast
Yeah,
that you know there has to be this balance between what people expect and the actual testing implementation phase of games. And I think having that open communication and kind of setting out to say, well, this is what we expect this to do, but if it doesn't do it, don't be mad at us,
yeah,
is a realistic approach, because it's saying, okay, we're going to try this. And it's like giving us that A/B test. So they're not just telling us how we're going to play the game. They're saying, this is what we're going to do and try to get this reaction. If it
yeah.
doesn't work, we'll tweak it, but we're here with you doing it, not so much just deciding for you how to play it.
Yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
yeah. I think a great example of that is shown in their development update 2 video that they just released not too long ago, talking about the upcoming season 2 changes we're going to be seeing and kind of how they're going to feel out certain numbers tests through just public reception, essentially. One of those being the skill rank, I don't know what you would want to call it, grouping for your friends and what the distance is between ranks that allow you to queue together. They're trying to find a number that feels good for both friend groups and for people who don't want to play up against Smurfs with their friends or play against people who are worse because they're playing with their friends, that kind of stuff. So they've said with their upcoming changes, they have a certain number in mind right now, but if it comes out and it's terrible and people hate it, they're willing to adjust that number a little bit based on community feedback to try to get it to a point where everybody's happy. And it's always great to hear that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah, the video. Oh,
oh yeah, go ahead. No, I was just gonna talk
Yeah.
about the video more.
yeah. Thought the video was pretty good. The rank structure to me, and I'm nitpicky as shit, and I'm always really hard on Blizzard because I'm like, of us, we're probably some of the biggest Blizzard people I know.
Yeah.
As far as kind of between us three and maybe Mark and Austin.
Yeah.
We're kind of like
the standard.
yeah, we're a Blizzard family kind of friendship here at Left Click. So, we love Blizzard, but I'm pretty nitpicky, and I always feel like their language is kind of like a bit fluffy in a way. It's not that it turns me off, but it kind of makes it feel disingenuous to me, like, because they're trying to appeal to so much of an audience that they can't offend like the lowest part of that audience.
Yeah.
Not that like people who are speaking respectfully or are taking offense to certain things are low people, but it's just saying in a sense that that their filter for society isn't as strong as a functioning person's is. And I think they I don't know.
I think that comes from just being a business, though. Like, you never want to alienate a potential customer, so you're going to want to talk in as broad strokes as you can.
I guess that the truth, though, but the flip of that is that, your core business is the smaller niche audience.
Yeah.
Where, the broad audience, is helpful, but they only feed into that core niche. And I think you should always support the core people that have been there and built the company. I mean, the games that were played back in the day,
Back in the day.
that funded the games that are built now. You know, so those people still play, and I think that's your real audience is the people that have come from, you know, Diablo, StarCraft, Warcraft, and are playing Overwatch now, you know,
Yep.
or Hearthstone or Heroes.
And are back to WoW
And,
now.
Yeah, and back to WoW. But yeah, I just think that I don't know. Sometimes, like I just don't ever see Valve coming out and saying, you know, we're gonna lower the standard of play so that everybody feels like they can be global elite, you know?
That's because Valve doesn't say jack shit though.
But
like they're on the Niantic end of the spectrum.
But they
where
flipped
don't
it
say
though.
anything.
They flipped the rank structure though as well to make it harder to get higher, to
Yeah.
make the game more competitive, and that's what kind of I feel like it should be. Like I feel like the top people should be lower than 70. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. The rank does seem a little bit weird how it is like 1 to 100. I told
They're
Austin
changing
like
it, right?
yeah, I know. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what we're
we'll
talking
talk about that.
I know
Okay.
you're okay.
Yeah.
Just wanna
What
make
I'm
sure.
talking about is like the whole preamble to that speech was he was saying that, you know, he's comparing like a 60 ranking to like a D, and I was like, that felt a little bit of a stretch. You know, that's kind of like a really weird juxtaposition for me because I never thought of it that way. I just saw it as a number. What I did think about the numbers though is that they were very like simple. Like I remember playing Warrock with Austin and each level had a different symbol, and there was kind of an impact to earning that symbol. Like you're like, oh yeah, I want that triple diamond, I want that triple asterisk. I remember like you would call it that, and you would know what level like 281 was because it was triple asterisk orange, you know.
Yeah.
So I think they could have done a better job with that, or maybe they can do it later on. Is add more like iconography to it.
Yeah, and they're
So they're
doing that in this season 2 update.
Oh, okay.
On a smaller
it's
scale.
gonna be-
It's not going to be like
Yeah.
that prestige system you're talking about, or that system you were talking about, or the prestige system
Yeah.
that Call of Duty players are familiar with. But they're getting closer to it. They're switching it to
Yeah.
more of a StarCraft / League of Legends style system where you get essentially a value ranking, I'll call it, where it starts as bronze as the lowest ranking, and then it goes silver, gold, platinum, all the way to like master plat or whatever there is. There's 2 more rankings above platinum. I think he said there are 5 rankings in total. So you'll have that at least. You'll know if they said that each ranking's going to encompass something like 500 or so. Yeah, 500 or so individual ranks. And that because they're upping the ranks from 1 to 100 to 1 to, what is it, 5,000? 2,000?
Yeah.
One of the two, but they're increasing it by a lot in order to address a feeling voiced by a part of the player base we're not familiar with that feels that they don't like gaining parts of ranks, which I think we can kind of sympathize with because it is an odd thing. You'll go like, oh, I gained 3/4 of a rank for this win, or no, I gained like 1/4 of this rank for a win, and then I lose 3/4 of a rank for a loss. So they're switching it to where they've essentially adjusted the percentages, so you gain and lose whole ranks at a time instead of parts of ranks to adjust a part of the audience we're not too familiar with.
Yeah, and I get that because like the way it was working was like, you know, you'd win a game and you feel like you did well, and you'd get like, oh, I got a nice chunk of, you know, competitive juice or whatever in my thermometer or whatever, you know. That's what it kind of felt like was when you're on. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It kind of feels like one of those like fundraising thermometers where it's like somebody's kind of just drawing the red line.
Yeah.
It's more implied than it is actually logic. Where it's like, well, this is kind of this much money in scale to the rest of it. But it's like if you don't see that scale, most people won't be able to, you know, derive that. So they see it and they're like, well, where's the actual key? And there's no key. You know, so now they're going to go to where it's the levels are themselves more instructive than what was there before.
They're still using a scale. It's just an inflated scale. So
Yeah,
now when
well,
you win a game, you'll gain maybe 4 ranks, and when you lose, you'll lose 8. Or whatever the thing's going to be. I don't know the numbers for sure. It's just speculation based off how it works right now.
But like what I'm saying with the thermometer ruler thing was like, you know, it didn't tell you like you lost 80% of this rank. It was just like it would kind of go slightly past like a certain mark. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't really know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's more of like a derived thing than this where the new one's going to be more of like, it's
Mhm.
implied directly.
Yeah. I think one of the cooler things they're doing with this new ranking system too is going back to those value ranks is whatever the highest one you achieve, it's going to watermark it for you so that you don't lose it if you do happen to fall below it. So you'll stay like a gold if you achieve gold, but your rank number can drop, but the quality of the rank will stay the same at the end of the season. You can fall like back into silver for a little bit, I believe, if I understood him correctly. But at the end, you'll still get gold rank rewards because that's the highest rank you achieved. And the only two
Yeah,
ranks
it's like
those
now, right? They do that
no,
now.
you can. It keeps track of your highest one, but I think it's whatever you are at the end of the season. That's what you get right
No,
now.
I think you're rewarded based on wherever your
I think it's
highest.
their highest.
Is it? Okay, I
Yeah.
was wrong then.
I want to say it is.
Yeah, if they do that,
I
then cool.
Unless I'm wishfully thinking.
But yeah, so
No,
the
I'm
only thing
pretty
that
sure it
doesn't
is.
apply to is the highest two ranks. They actually have an active rank decay they're going to be putting into place for the highest two ranks, so you actually have to play to maintain your rank. You can't just like get to platinum master or whatever it's going to be and just chill there because you'll lose like 50 rank a day or 50 rank every 7 days. You're inactive or something like that, which is nice, giving people an incentive to keep playing and actively earn their role or their rank, I'll call it. I like to see that.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think it's. I don't want to say it's every 7 days. I think it's 7 days. If you don't play in 7 days, it's every day after that you lose 50.
Okay.
So it's a little more extreme.
Okay.
But
that
I
makes
think
sense.
that if you're in those high rankings, you should be playing.
Yeah,
At least,
absolutely.
once every few days.
I think if you're in those high rankings, you are playing that many.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You would think.
And then it's only penalizing you if you quit for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's like just like Counter-Strike is.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming it'll just be it's just the same to get back up. Like if you're that good to get there in the first place, you'll be able to get back.
Yeah. With their new scale, 50 ranked really isn't too much to get back by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Just going based on the fact there's going to be 5,000 or whatever the hell it is. Yeah. In addition to that, we're going to see like more balance and tweak changes. Like I know a lot of people now feel that Zenyatta's OP for reasons they never thought he was prior to, which I think is funny because
Who's that?
Zenyatta.
Oh yeah.
The people are now
he
crying
has
he's OP.
21 orbs, man.
Yeah, that's
then
been the same since
He has
launch,
the.
though.
I know, but then he has the what's it called too?
I don't know.
The Discord orb that needs to be nerfed because it does so much
It,
damage.
again, they haven't
damage
adjusted
increase.
that since launch. It's been the same since launch. It's
I
just that
know.
nobody played him before. He's always been that strong, just nobody ever played him.
I think it's that and a combination of nerfs to other classes as well.
But yeah, it goes back to the thing where it's nice to see them actively paying attention again. I think he's okay. I think he's overpicked now, if anything. But that's a whole meta discussion that doesn't really need to happen.
I haven't played too much, so I can't really comment.
You see a lot of Zenyatas now, dude. In comparison to where you rarely ever saw one. Like if somebody picks a healer that's not Lucio, it's Zenyatta or Ana.
I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I don't know. I think he's a very squishy guy.
Yeah, he's got his purpose. Like I'll pick him when we go up against tank heavy teams because you need that Discord to eat through the tanks a little bit more, and you need that extra damage. And the fact that he can heal is just like a plus. That's how I think of it.
From what I've seen, it's like if you have a Lucio or a Mercy and an Ana or a Zenyatta, and then 2 tanks, you can pretty much win any map. As long as everybody does their job. It's pretty hard to lose like that.
Yeah, I think you could
'Cause
argue
it's
that with a bunch of
the
different
damage.
comps, though.
Well, the damage boost from either of those 2 alternate healers, then the main healers, or healing overall is pretty good. So
It's the constantly evolving meta is something that I'm always interested in from just like a very, very passive standpoint. Ever since like WoW, I paid attention to it then a little bit. I paid attention to it in Hearthstone a little bit. You'd see a change in League from time to time. I just like observing it just to see like what strategies people are trying, because it's always nice to see people trying new things. And I like to see how the people react to changes in hero nerfs and buffs and how that affects the meta and all that kind of fun stuff. So it's always entertaining to watch at the very least. I'm curious to see how it's going to go as the game progresses, just as a pure curiosity standpoint, or just from a purely curious standpoint.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, I haven't played much, so I can't, even over the last few weeks, so I can't say how it's been.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
The game feels pretty good right now. I don't really have a ton of complaints.
Yeah, besides
that's where I'm
Zenyatta
at with
being
the game right
overpowered
now.
and shit.
I still don't think he's OP, but that's me.
His Discord orb is
Same as
you don't
it's
really
always
tank
been.
though, do you?
Not unless I have to.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll still fuck you up if you're anybody else, though. Especially if you're not a tank, it'll fuck you up.
Yeah, it should be like 30%.
I don't know what it's at right now, so I can't really give a number.
Or it should have more of a cooldown, because you can literally spam it.
It doesn't have a cooldown at all right now. It's just on the GCD.
There you go.
Bring back the WoW.
Give him less balls. Give him like 7 balls.
That'd be an interesting way to nerf him. Lower his overall damage output by just reducing the amount of max damage he can do in one go.
He just has so many, dude. It's just OP as fuck when like you have a shield tank and he's just sitting behind them throwing. Discord, throw, Discord, throw. You know, if you have a good team and there's a Zenyatta, all he has to do is sit back and kill everyone.
But yeah, then you can get a Genji and he can deflect them, or you can eat them with Diva, or you can throw a Zarya up in front, or even a Reinhardt. Any of the tanks besides Roadhog really can do something.
It sounds
about
really
the
easy on paper.
Yeah, so does like countering a Bastion. People still fuck that up immensely.
Yeah. I'm just saying, Zenyatta, more times than not, was killing your whole team in comp.
A lot of really good Zenyatas. I will say that.
Or the fact that he's just overpowered, you know.
I still don't know about that, but we'll see. Yeah. And our last little bit of Overwatch news, I guess you can call it. There was a new, people are calling it an Easter egg released on the PTR. And what it does is anytime you type in GGEZ or some of its minor variations, it replaces that text with placeholder text. I don't know if you guys have heard about this at all.
Yeah, no, I saw a GIF of it earlier on the subreddit.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So some of the things
Yeah,
it
no,
switches
it's
it to
cool.
is like, aw shucks, you guys are the best, wishing you the best. I could really use a hug right now. I'm wrestling with some insecurity issues in my life, but thank you for playing with me. Just funny stuff like that. I just love to see it. I love when Blizzard does trolly stuff like this. It's something I thought I'd highlight and share with everybody. Because, quite frankly, it deserves it.
It sounds like somebody who's had years of being said GG easy to.
Yeah. Someone who's observed player behaviors over numerous years.
Someone who's just so NACL they just are a rock.
I don't know. I think it's funny because there's
I like it.
Yeah, no reason for that. Like, I don't know what you'd even call that, taunting behavior.
Yeah, there is.
No reason for being a dick. That's another way to say it.
It's not being a dick.
GG easy.
Oh, well,
Yeah, it's a bit
They're
dickish.
easy.
All you have to say is GG. That's all.
What
Gotta
if it
be
wasn't
nice.
a good game?
Well, then you don't do. Then
What
you
if it
don't
was
say
an easy
anything.
game?
If
Keep
you,
your
I
mouth
know
shut.
if you do GG, it doesn't do anything. But if you do
Yeah.
GGEZ, then it does.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're writing GGEZ, then I feel like you're just being a dickhead.
Yeah, exactly. You never say it in anything but in a spiteful manner. That's not everything, nothing that's said in a well-meaning manner. So yeah,
No, never.
I don't know. I like to see them having fun with this kind of stuff. Just cutting down some of that toxicity with a little bit of fun. I kind of hope we'll see it in live. I doubt it. I think this most likely is just probably a PTR fun thing. It'd be cool if you could enable it as a filter. That would be
Yeah, that'd be
interesting.
great. I'd like that.
So going over to the forums and drop them a note telling them Left Culture says I'd like to see this as a filter, and so would we. If you guys would like to see this as a feature in the game, much appreciated for the name drop. Yeah, I think that just about wraps up Overwatch news for this week. Still fun, still enjoying it. Those are still doing a great job. All that kind of fun stuff. And that brings us to gaming news in general this week. Or this week, these past couple weeks. It's been kind of slow, but a couple things have managed to trickle out, even if they aren't as exciting as people initially hoped that they were. Like No Man's Sky, for example.
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna get it, and then I heard how bad it was on PC, and now I'm not gonna get it. So, like, I don't care if you're gonna fix it at some point. Like, I'm sorry, you shouldn't have those problems in 2016 when you release a game. Just don't release it. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah, it's not even just the fact that it was incredibly broken on PC on launch. It's just that, a lot of people are disappointed in just the game itself, it seems. They overhyped it for themselves.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'd say that it's 100% overhyped for what it was originally supposed to be. I don't know. It's stupid. I mean, that's really it is.
The whole situation or the game?
The whole situation mostly, but I don't know. The game's cool, I guess. I don't know. Like, I mean, a game like that had so much potential, and I don't know.
That's the thing, though.
There's like nothing to the game. I think it could have. Yeah, I definitely think it could have.
It was built by the guys who last 2 games were Joe Danger. And they were
that I know. I'm saying the idea. I mean, like, the idea of it had so much potential. It really did.
The idea of infinite planets?
Just how not necessarily that idea, but just how the game works in a sense, and like everything about it. Like, they could have added a lot more stuff, and it could have been like an awesome game. I don't know. It just seems like a game that should have been like $30, not a $60 full release game.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. This is something we'll never get an answer to, unfortunately, but I kind of want to know how much of Sony's influence turned this from a small, like, indie project to a massive $60, like, this is a game you want this summer kind of debacle.
I mean, they said they didn't have much influence. I don't believe that at all, because
You
they also said that it would take 100 playing hours in order for you to find someone. That happened in the first day.
Yeah.
They also said that you would be able to see someone when you find them, because it's almost impossible to find someone. That happened in the first day, and it didn't come true.
Yeah.
So I just don't rely on anything they say to be true.
Yeah, there's
it
a whole,
it
like,
definitely doesn't seem like a game that should have been $60 at all.
That's tough to say, because there is, I don't want to say a lot to the game, because it's essentially the same things you're doing over and over again, but you can sink a lot of time into the game.
You can if you
like exploring.
I don't know.
This is your shit.
I guess, but I mean, the big complaints I've heard about that even are like a lot of the planets are the same, just retextured in different colors.
Yeah, there's
Like,
only so
that's-
many
I mean,
assets.
the difference
you can
is-
assign to a
The
creation.
difference is, look at a game like Minecraft. So Minecraft came out in alpha, and it was like $10 when it came out, and you got that game for life throughout its build.
Mhm.
And yes, later on down the line, it had a lot more stuff. But the fact is that, it came out bare and not high priced, which I think this game could have, and maybe should have done, like some type of early access thing. Because right now, I don't see this as a finished full $60 game. Yes, there's a lot to the game, but there's a lot of stuff. I'm trying to think of the right way I want to word it. There's a lot of stuff in the game, but not a lot of stuff to do in the game. If that makes any sort of sense. Like, yeah, there's infinite planets. You can go do all the resources and stuff. You can upgrade everything. But once you get like max upgrades, there's really not anything to do other than explore planets. And I feel like a majority of the user base is going to get very bored after that, after a few weeks.
This sounds to me like this isn't your kind of game, though. Like, this.
You know what? Yes and no. I liked Minecraft a lot and the exploring and that and stuff, but like, it almost gives you nothing to do other than that. I don't know.
You could argue that you brought up that early Minecraft thing, and yes, there is a price disparity of about $50. But early Minecraft, there was next to nothing to do. There weren't even that many biomes. You had ocean, plains and probably just tundra at first, maybe desert, probably desert too. So you had like 4 terrain types you would see no matter what your seed was.
But here's the difference though. To me, that was $10 when it came out. You got that
Yeah,
game for life after that. This is $60, and yeah, they might add
you'll
some
have this game for
upgrades
life.
here
Yeah.
down the line, but at least there was a set plan. I want to say for Minecraft, like there was an idea of where it wanted to go.
That's tough to say.
They
We don't
have
know like what they wanted to add at launch. Most of the stuff
with
that
Minecraft or
had
with
been added could have come from like
I had Minecraft in
demands.
alpha.
So did
I
I.
bought it back in alpha, and
Yeah, I'm just saying we have
they
no
at
way
least
of knowing internally what
no,
their
but
initial
I
plans
don't.
for the game was.
But I don't like they say that base building is coming. I believe it's coming when I don't know because they've already lied about a bunch of other stuff, and I just don't know. I don't trust the developers. Not necessarily trust, but
Yeah, they
I don't like them after what they've done to it.
they did paint the game in very broad strokes, and I don't think the fault completely lies on the developer. I think part of it is just people maybe overhyping the game.
I definitely think the media overhyped it a bit.
Yeah,
Um,
See, I don't even know that though, because even you listen to some of these interviews, and a lot of times people are just like, "What is this game?" Like, sure, it got put on these big platforms, like on E3 and at the Video Game Awards, but other than that, it's just like, oh, what I want, No Man's Sky. For the longest time, nobody knew what the hell the game was. Up until the
no,
day of
because
launch, we didn't really know what the game was. We saw
they didn't really say
shooting,
what it
flying
was.
around, and walking on surfaces, and that's all we ever saw of the game. And people just got like fanatical about it based on those 3 scenarios. And
No, I agree.
I yeah, that's where my issue lies with blaming the developer for that stuff, because they showed what they had. They might have
I'd say yes
lied
and
about
no. They didn't
multiplayer,
really.
but still, like, would multiplayer make this game infinitely better?
No, it's not. It's not.
Make it a little
My point
less
about
boring.
multiplayer. Yes, it would make it a little less boring. I don't care if there's multiplayer or not. My point is that when you specifically say, I think someone put a video of it on 9 or 10 separate occasions.
Yeah, it's
That
like a 6 minute
it's not a
video.
multiplayer. It's not a multiplayer game, but there is multiplayer in it. Like if
Mhm.
you see another player, you're going to see them, and then flat out lie about that. And that's where my problem.
Yeah, like I think the most explicit example of that is when he was on the Colbert show. I think it's
Like
the like most damning version of that. And then to see the game come out and it has like stickers on the back of it, covering up the fact that it has multiplayer capabilities, and
yeah,
people
no,
who have data
if
mined the PC version haven't even found like player models, which leads people to believe that multiplayer was never a thing at all, because there would have at least been a player model in there, at least some evidence of one
yeah,
in the code somewhere. Yeah, to see
no,
that
it's
doesn't even
just it
exist.
bothers me. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't.
I
I'll
think that's
pick it
fair
up
to
maybe
say.
when it's like $20, but I'm not. I'm not buying it. It looked like fun, and then as the days passed and more things came out, then I'm like, nope, I'll pass.
Yeah, this is one that I was definitely keeping my eye on too, because I enjoy these just like go explore kind of things and see what's out there. That's my favorite thing to do in Minecraft, is just run around and explore and look at terrain generation and all that kind of fun stuff. But eventually I want to settle down, and once I find that cool place, once I found that really awesome place, I want to be like, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna like focus all my shit here. And you can't really do that in this game right now. That in combination with like the state that it's in, yeah, it's
No.
just I can't justify spending $60 on it right now. I'll keep an eye on
It's
the
like
progress of it. Go ahead,
it's
Joe.
like the first 2 days of Minecraft. When you're like building those like grass huts just to stay alive through the night,
Yeah,
and you finally find the place. Well, No Man's Sky is like just building grass huts over and over. It's like
you can't even do that though.
build huts.
No,
Can't build
Yeah.
anything.
you have to hope the terrain or the robots that protect the terrain doesn't kill you before you fly off in your ship to go strip
On
mine
another
another
planet.
Not even strip mine it, take what's on the surface, because there's no terraforming in the game right now.
Mining simulator, it might as well be called.
Even that's a bit
I
of a
don't know.
lie, because there's not much mining to do. You shoot stuff that you can see. Can't change the ground at all. That's just about it.
True.
I'm thinking like Pokemon with this or something. Like I feel like some of the stuff I saw was like they've already discovered over 6 million bajillion thousand species in No Man's Sky
Yeah,
within the
there
first
are
24 hours.
some of the planets you come across are inhabited by randomly generated most call them just animals to speak in vague terms. And you know, they're everything from like little T-Rex looking things with wings to like weird space goats, and you can name them and all that kind of fun stuff if you're the first one to find them. But I guess some of them are just like don't make sense and are kind of derpy. And at one point they had said the animals would be like actually intelligent, and you see like ones just like butting their heads into the ground, like trying to walk on their foreheads, and it's just more broken stuff.
It's just shitty AI that they push in the corner, and they're like, "Eh, well, nobody's gonna see that planet."
Yeah,
It's
this
like the
animal's
second
just stupid.
planet.
Yeah, exactly. When you have like 13 quintillion planets or whatever fucking stupid number there is, what are the odds that someone's gonna come across that one? You know, how much care can be put into creating, excuse me, a believable world when you don't know everything in your world that's been created? You know,
Yeah.
it's part of the reason why I almost prefer these carefully tailored, crafted experiences, because you know. I think I heard this somewhere else. Someone else was like mentioning the same thing, is that they prefer these worlds that have been crafted because they know that this was put here for a reason, for you to find, for you to, you know, experience essentially. And with No Man's Sky, it's the exact opposite of that. It's just like, I don't know what the fuck you're gonna find, but go have fun in this thing we made, kind of. Go have fun in this algorithm
Yeah.
we made to make these planets for you.
You know, I definitely think that the idea is good. I don't think the implementation is that great.
Yeah, I think most people would
Personally.
agree. They have some work to do.
I mean, if you like the game, that's cool. I mean, it's just not in this current state and how the game is. It's just not my thing.
Yeah, if like mining resources to fuel your ship is your shit, go for it. Have a ball. There's literally tons of that for you to do in this game. That's just not enough for me in its current state. So yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on it for sure. I do think it's interesting that comparison to early access you brought up earlier, Nick, because you see games like Space Engineers that launch and they're pretty much just like Minecraft clones in space, and then they had the opportunity to build like actual working machines and just tons of stuff. So they're almost a different product that they were from when they first launched on Steam, and it's curious to see these transformations that these games go through.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's I think the number one. I don't even consider Minecraft like an early access type thing. Like, yeah, it was maybe one of the first few that did something like that, but I wouldn't even consider it like early access like we have nowadays. I think the tip top game when it comes to early access nowadays is maybe Kerbal Space Program.
In
With
terms of
how
it
they've
being done well.
done well after it's released, and because you see a lot of these early access stuff, and half of them don't even release fully, like at all.
Yeah, some just die.
And it's when you get a game that does go early access and it comes out and it's a great game after launch, you
Yeah.
know, um, can't do much better than that.
No. Another one that springs to mind for me is Prison Architects. I don't know if you ever played that one.
I haven't played it. I know what it is though.
Yeah, that's a game that started out on early access and it got refined and refined and refined, and now it's a pretty successful PC game. You can even get it on your PS4 now. It's pretty neat. I picked it up because it was a summer sale or something one time. Pretty fun game. Yeah, it's curious to follow the case of that one too.
Yeah, there are quite a few examples where early access has worked, and I think there are definitely a bunch of games that could have used early access.
Yeah. Definitely, and we see more people picking it up. It's just that sometimes you wish even more people would. Just because at the end of the day, what's it really going to hurt to release your product early and to get more feedback about it? Especially if you charge for it, which is becoming an increasingly popular trend. Charging for betas of games. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's...
no, I don't know. I don't even consider that like betas nowadays to me are not stuff that lasts a month. Beta to me, I mean it's still a beta, but like most of the betas you see that are free in a sense nowadays for games are like a weekend or like a week before or the week before the games comes out.
Yeah, it's like
You
a
know, just
playable teaser.
it's a hype builder. That's all it is.
Yeah, most things aren't really true betas anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but in the state we live in. Do I think it's going anywhere? No. Do I think it should? Yes. I think when you start charging for a game, it should be open to like critical reception. And yeah, we've even got people saying in chat, pre-order the game and get 2 weekends of beta, because yeah, it's essentially just like you said, Nick, a hype session. It's just like, oh yeah, get excited, play the game
is.
a little soon, get a little head start essentially, because they don't wipe it most of the time. If you get that like week early, that head start that Call of Duty does, I think that's
Yeah.
what they call it.
They do. Call of Duty did wipe it last year, actually.
Okay, see, I didn't know
For
that.
the beta.
Shows you what attention I pay.
They didn't wipe the early. You got the early the day before or whatever. If you pre-ordered, you got like a day early or something. They didn't wipe that, but they did. They do wipe the betas.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to keep an eye on this one as it progresses, or at least I'm going to hold out hope for him. I think it was ambitious to say the least.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on
in
it.
the face.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and at this point, it's almost getting to the point where it's been beaten to a dead horse. Just everybody talking about not how shitty this game is, but just how many people are disappointed for one reason or another. And it's not unfair, a lot of the criticism that's going on right now. I just hope that Hello Games does the right thing and pays attention to it and learns from it. That's pretty much all you can do at this point.
You
There are
hope,
games out there. Yeah.
But the way a lot of developers work nowadays, I don't have much faith.
Yeah, we'll see. This guy seems
They'll
like,
change their ways.
at least the way he's been portrayed, he seems as a pretty positive guy. So we'll see. I guess that's all we can really say right now. We've said it a lot already, but we'll see. Another gaming news this week. We've got we've got what else? We'll talk about a game that actually released today, surprisingly, and that is the Mr. Robot app that's developed by Night Schoolers, the guys who made Oxenfree, and published by Telltale. I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to check this out since it was released earlier today.
I haven't checked it out yet. No.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
The interesting.
I saw it though.
Yeah. The interesting thing is that it's not a free app. It's actually a $3 experience, I guess you'd call it.
What exactly do you do?
From what I understand from the trailer and from what I've seen so far, you participate in text conversations with people from the show, and you have a minor degree of choice in what you respond. So the premise is you find a phone outside of the Funland, the Funland Society arcade.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, and it's Darlene's phone. So she texts the phone looking for it, and you start by talking to her a little bit, and I guess eventually a couple other people from the show pop up, including Elliot, and it's a small narrative experience that ties in with season 1 of the show.
It's interesting. I might have to check it out.
Yeah, if I ever have spare $3, I did actually just have a spare $3, but I just spent it on Reigns, which is Devolver's latest digital game, which I could have mentioned earlier when we were talking about what we were playing. That one's pretty fun, but yeah, it'll be a little bit before I have another $3 to spend on a mobile game, but looking forward to checking it out.
I don't buy mobile games very often.
Yeah, me either. Most of them don't really justify the price, so I avoid it when I can.
More of a emulator person, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, Team Android. Yeah, I know all of us here are fans of mind blanked. Mr. Robot. Is this something that you could see yourself checking out, Joe?
Yeah, I haven't really heard much about the game, but I've been a Mr. Robot fan from the beginning. I remember I was watching it, and that's when Nick started watching it because he tweeted me. He's like, "How is it?" And he's like, "I gotta check it out." And he caught up on it. I remember seeing the thing. I mean, I basically am Mr. Robot, obviously.
Basically.
So basically, I mean, let's be honest. No. He's much more talented than I am in computer science. But yeah, you like to cast yourself as shows you enjoy, so
Hmm.
that's what I do. But yeah, it's been one of my favorite shows for a while. It's very Fight Club-esque.
Yeah.
I think it's probably my favorite part about it, and that really relates to like a lot of the shows, movies
Spoiler
I like
alert.
are, yeah.
Throwing that out there.
If you
What?
haven't seen season 1 by now, it's your own damn fault.
Saying something's Fight Club-esque isn't like a spoiler.
It is though,
Why?
because it's
No, you're
Pretty-
making it. You're going further down the rabbit hole with it now.
what? I think that was a pretty fair saying. Spoiler, right?
No.
Chris?
The statute of limitations for spoilers for the first season of Mr. Robot, I think, is expired.
Yeah, and
pretty
I
out
mean,
there right now.
it's not really like.
It is Fight Club. Like it's Fight Club.
Yeah, I know, but it's saying that's not. It doesn't give away anything.
I get what Joe's saying. It's just because you
Yeah.
know what Fight Club is, you can make that connection where it's saying it is Fight Club, but you're saying the show as a whole is Fight Club. You're not saying Elliot is Tyler Durden.
No.
You didn't go
Yeah.
as far as to say that.
Yeah, because yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying.
Fight
Is
Club
like
is just like a psychological, like movie.
yeah, I'm saying it's in the theme of. I'm not making that connection immediately, saying that the Tyler Durden scenario is the same as what's going on in Elliot. It's like just Chris just said, but I'm just saying in a general sense, it has that grungy depression, manic feel to it.
Mm.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just kind of think the irony things, like the whole F society building, like just that kind of thing where it's like, I am David's liver, like stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty funny.
So yeah, do you think that just being a fan of the show, is the Mr. Robot license enough for you to be willing to try a $3 mobile narrative experience, Joe?
No.
No? Okay.
I mean, I'd agree with Joe too. Like I don't like mobile games usually.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I played Clash of Clans until I had to pay to get further, and then I was just kind of like done with mobile games forever.
Okay.
I think Facebook games kind of ruined that for a lot of people, just out of the sheer fact of the spam. I mean, there's stats proving how Facebook games kind of screwed them out of a lot of users and messed up their chat stats and but yeah, I haven't been when I first got my first iPod Touch, I played a lot of mobile games, but that was before I had an iPhone. And then once I got an iPhone, I didn't really play any games.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I have a computer that plays games, so
yeah, this is something that I'd be interested in picking up because I'm that guy that likes to know as much as I can about these worlds that
Yeah.
I enjoy. You guys know this. That's why my title on the website is the lore master in addition to the podcast host. I'm the guy that went out and bought the Division, what is it, Fall of New York, what is it? Yeah, the New York Collapse book, because I wanted to know more about the world of the Division. So
If the game didn't suck, I totally would have read that book. But
it's interesting. But yeah, like
I love that you
wanna know
guys
as much
finally
as I
say
can.
that.
fuck that game. That's all I have to say.
I was
about
like,
that.
for so long, I was like, this game sucks, this game sucks, this game sucks, and then you guys are finally like, this game sucks. Like, yes.
Yeah, there wasn't enough
Thank
content
you.
at the end game. It's just disappointing. You also got shafted by RNG a lot in that game, like more than Nick and I did combined, I think, Joe.
Yeah. As far as the table and just
Yeah, which was amusing for
equipment,
me, but not so much for you.
yeah, we had like that one argument for like an hour about like just my stubbornness. It was a real Nick Miller moment where I was just like,
Yeah.
no.
I'm not gonna stop using it. Just stop fucking spending credits.
No. It should work. Yeah, I mean, but that's how I am. I just fucking work or I'm pissed.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I sank 120 hours into that game and had fun most of that time. I'm only at probably 63, 64 hours in Overwatch right now. even though that game
Yeah.
is better. I think that's the best word to describe Overwatch
Yeah,
in its current state. I'm
and I
enjoying
think I
it
was a bit discouraged too.
at first, but yeah, it's just I don't think we had the free time we had back when we played the division either.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We just had, oodles and
J-
oodles of free time to just sit there and play
January
all
was
day.
like, yeah, January was like a breeze
Yeah. Now we come and we
compared to
play.
now.
Yeah. For a couple hours at night, and that's just about it. Adulting, man.
Oh God, don't say that. I hate that.
Cutting into our free time. God
Don't
damn it.
don't take credit for shit that you're supposed to do. You know, adulting.
I'm not
It's
I'm not
fucking-
taking credit for it or anything. I'm just saying it takes away.
Yeah.
You have other responsibilities you have to do, or that should come first anyway. But yeah, so like I can see, going back to the original topic after that little tangent, I can see myself picking this up, but I can understand why other people would not. Just because I'm all for learning more about the world, especially if it's canon. That I can, or as much of the world as I can.
Yeah, I'm just usually really disappointed when I do that kind of shit. To be honest, like I remember like when I was stoked and I was a kid and the Captain Crunch video game came out and you got a CD in the box if you bought the special edition and it sucked. It sucked. And it's like every time I've done that, I've got so excited. And then it's like as I've done this throughout my life, I've just realized that usually things that are tied to shows and stuff like that is just half-assed,
Well,
and I don't enjoy it.
To
Usually
be
how I
fair,
feel when I eat Mighty Taco. Like
y-
the idea
Yeah.
sounds so good beforehand, and then you eat it, and it's
Yes.
like, why did I do this to myself?
Yes, exactly. Those two things are mutually exclusive.
But yet I'll continue to do it.
Yeah.
And eat Mighty Taco.
Yes.
I'm gonna be a
Yes.
little judgy here, but did you honestly expect a Captain Crunch game
Hey,
that expanded
hey.
upon the world of Captain Crunch to be good? Maybe it's
bet
just
it-
your choice
yeah.
and expanded
Yeah.
universes.
When I was
Unless this was like
fucking
2 weeks
10,
ago.
When I was 10, I did, yes.
So you, at the age of 10, you expected the Captain Crunch world to be expansive and everything you ever wanted, but we're also old and mature enough to realize that it sucked and it didn't live up to your expectations.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think comparatively, it's more of me looking back on it now.
Yeah, hindsight.
Yes. Not so much me sitting there at the time, because I played it a lot, obviously, but that was like at the time of like Age of Empires. So, like that was slightly before then,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like graphics were insane, and comparatively, it was just a really basic game, and I think that's what it is like, it wasn't, that's why it sucked, is because it wasn't like anything too deep.
Okay.
But it was a game, and I played it, because I wanted to be on the computer playing games.
Yeah. Same reason why
But,
I played
like-
the Chex Quest game. That was just a reskin of Doom, but I wasn't expecting to find a ton of information about the Chex Quest world as a result. It was just a stupid little Doom clone. That's all it ever
Chex?
was. Chex
Mix?
Quest. Chex Quest.
What's that?
It was an old DOS game you got inside of a box of Chex cereal that was literally just a reskin of Doom, but you fought aliens instead of demons, and you had a spinning spork instead of a chainsaw.
Well, it's like when I was probably like 7, my stepdad showed me this game that was like Dungeon Masters,
Hmm.
and you launched it through DOS too, and it was all movement through like the arrow keys.
Yeah.
So you were going down a hallway to turn, and then you turn, and it's like a sharp turn, like the frame flips.
Yeah.
But it was sweet. It was sweet. You got to get like 4 players. This is probably what made me love World of Warcraft, because you pretty much walk through these dungeons, and then you finally get to like this village, and you just go all the way through all this shit, and it takes you like weeks to do all of this, like weeks, and you're just fucking walking through a dungeon and killing monsters, and for some reason it's super appealing because it's like a puzzle, but it's also like monsters, and there's all these like formulas for spells, but it's like hardcore like vanilla shit where it's like they don't tell you how to make it, you have to figure out how to make it through combos and stuff, like.
I'm trying to remember
So-
the name of that modern series I've linked to you a couple times now. That's exactly what you're talking about. It's just a modern
Yeah.
take on it, and I can't for the life of me remember what it is right now. But yeah, I know exactly what
But
you're
yeah.
talking about. It's you move like one square at a time, and all your actions take up like one turn, and it's all turn-based essentially.
Yeah, and you could get up to like 4 guys walking with you, and you
Mm.
level up, and
Have your
it's
little party,
pretty much, yeah, it's the early version of what an
like
MMO.
Diablo, even.
Yeah,
Is.
yeah, kind of dungeon crawler.
Yep. Yeah, what
Yeah.
it is. What the fuck is the name of that game? I might have to open up Steam to find out.
So people ask me, like, oh, how can you spend that much time doing that same thing, that repetitively? And I'm like, well, dungeon masters, man. Just like, just a masochist.
Legends of Grimrock. That is the one that I'm thinking
Ah,
of.
yeah.
Yeah. Very well done couple games that are exactly that type of game that you're talking about right now.
Maybe I should pick that up and just stream it once a night or once a week.
I've been telling you for years, literally now, to pick that game up, and it'll ring those nostalgic bells for you. Even if it's, yeah, just like your, Saturday morning coffee and Legends of Grimrock stream, just chill out,
Yeah.
take a couple floors at a time.
Oh, this looks dope as shit, dude.
Yeah, there's 2 of them now. There's 1 and 2.
I'm
You
gonna
say
get
that
it.
every time, and then you were just never at the state where you were like, you're just like, no, I can't play this right now. I'm
Yeah.
playing this. But we're getting you to expand a little bit, even though this is
Yeah.
a little backwards turn. But yeah.
But
So,
it's okay. This is like formative years of gaming.
yeah,
you
like
know?
that's the kind of game where you're gonna need to like keep a notepad on hand. Not that you don't already.
Oh
But
yeah.
to like figure out puzzles and that kind of stuff. It harkens back to
Yeah.
that style of game.
Yeah, like when you have to type in like 10 pages of Word just to load up a game, like in DOS.
Not quite that far. You don't have to go to your boot directory to launch the game.
Yeah. Well, this one was like command prompt, so it's like,
Yeah.
but yeah. I mean, that's really where it's crazy. And I think about it like I'm sitting, and I was pretty fortunate to be able to have a computer at the time.
Yeah.
And it was one of those old CRTs, and I was just sitting in my kitchen late at night, and I didn't have a bedtime at the time. And I was probably like 7, and I would just stay up and play Xbox. And when I got bored of Xbox at like 1 a.m., I'd go on the computer and I'd log into Neopets, and that's kind of my story is like Neopets HTML store was like, inline coding to make your store look cool. And I wanted to have the cool store. So I learned coding. And then, the DOS was the experience with the software stuff and kind of learning computers. And so I was always been around computers, and then just had the opportunity to stay around it. But
So, yeah. Moral of the story: if you're looking to learn more about your favorite game worlds, pick Elder Scrolls or Dishonored or World of Warcraft, well-established franchises with years and years of lore behind them, and not Captain Crunch. I think that's what we learned here today.
Or Mr. Robot app.
Or Mr. Robot app. Pick that. Learn more about your favorite shows. Keep Mr. Robot on the air for as long as they need to tell that tale. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And shout out, what's her name?
I don't know.
Carly Shaken.
Oh, Darlene.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Carly.
She's awesome. And she's pretty talented artist too.
There you go.
She has an Instagram where she paints.
Did not know she was a painter.
Yep. She does like a lot of really cool time lapses.
I'll have to check that out. Throw that in the link dump for you guys, provided I remember. Yeah, so speaking of well-crafted worlds of Warcraft, Nick and I have returned to Azeroth once again in preparation for Legion. The 5th expansion? 6th expansion? What are we up to now? Burning Crusade,
Lich King,
Kata, Mop,
yeah, 6th.
Trainor, yeah, 6th expansion. God damn it. Drop another $40 for the base game to return to World of Warcraft. Once again. $50.
The drums of war beat again.
So, you want to talk a little bit about your experience so far, Nick, returning to Azeroth?
The way I look at it is Blizzard with Legion so far is essentially saying we are so sorry for Draenor, and we're going to give you whatever you want. That's in my experience so far. That's pretty much what's going on here. That especially with they're announcing today with the 7.1 patch is turn to Karazhan,
Yeah, you get
like a mega
Karazhan
dungeon.
again.
It wasn't
Like
really
my boss
Draenor
did.
though that did it. It was more Mop. Like Mop
I
was
don't know.
like I
guess.
looked at the user stats with Austin the one night I was reading them off to him, and it was like 2014. It went up again to its second highest point, and then dropped to its lowest point.
Interesting.
I definitely think that
Within 4 months of the game launch.
yeah, no, I definitely think that Draenor didn't help at all. It did in the beginning, but then it dropped off a lot towards the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah, and I think, well, the thing is, like, if you think about it, Austin and I completed the content over a year ago. You know what I mean? We completed the
Yeah.
final raid over a year ago.
And it was
Already.
leveled then.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
and
was the biggest problem. The biggest problem I think with Draenor was just content.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can get new
and-
Dalaran already? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
There's a new Dalaran?
Well,
Yeah, that's
it's
another big
Dalaran,
thing.
but it's the new hub city again.
they essentially made Dalaran the hub city.
That's cool.
But yeah,
Oh.
the 7.1 patch dropped yesterday. I haven't had a chance to check it out yet because I actually didn't know until I was doing research for tonight's show. I'll probably be doing that after the show. Adds more pre-expansion quests and all that kind of fun stuff. What of the pre-expansion stuff have you done so far, Nick?
I've actually been doing Invasion since the beginning of the podcast for today.
Okay.
I did the Invasion stuff, and that's really about it. Oh, I played Demon Hunter. I leveled the Demon Hunter. I'm gonna do that as my main now because it's a lot of fun.
It's fucking sick.
And
It was
I
a
didn't
ton of
feel
fun.
like leveling the rest of my
Warrior.
warrior.
I don't blame
So I did my Demon Hunter, and I still have 100 boost for something.
Nice. What'd you roll on your Demon Hunter? Tank or DPS?
DPS. I don't. Tank is too much work for me.
That's convenient
that
because I rolled
takes-
tank.
That takes I have to pay attention, kind of, and like
Yeah.
do things. Or DPS, you don't. You do have to pay attention, but like
You just don't have to
know.
stand and shit.
you're
Keep
not
going
as
with DPS.
important in a sense because there's more at you. So
I think
I don't know.
Joe can recount many a tale about boss rush timers and how important DPS is.
I mean they're important.
What do you?
We're just
Sorry, I was blowing
making
my
jokes.
nose.
It's alright. We're just making jokes about the importance of DPS versus a tank.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one tank is more important than one DPS. I think we can all safely agree.
Yeah, like I don't know. I tanked once, like back in the way beginning. It was all right, but like,
Yeah.
I feel like you're. It's much easier for you to be all that wrong as a tank.
Oh yeah, you get
Yeah,
blamed. You're the
DPS.
first one to
I
get
don't know.
blamed.
Well, there's only two of you
Fine.
usually.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that. So I like my safe DPS.
So, I'm curious because I've only done invasions on the Demon Hunter. What do you get from invasions as a non-Demon Hunter?
It's the same thing. I think you just get gear and
Okay.
then
The
the shards. Are they? What are they called? They are nether shards.
Nether
yeah,
shards. Yeah.
I had to pull it up. Yeah, that's you get a piece of gear and then nether shards for each.
Okay. Yeah, because I had only seen the the blue equipment you can get as a Demon Hunter, so I was curious to see if it was just more gear to help people catch up, essentially.
What are nether shards?
They're just currency
Yeah,
to
they're
use to buy
currency.
gear and stuff.
You get them from participating in invasions and completing invasions.
And these are all
Yeah, pretty
mythic
much.
level.
They're I got a eye level 700 and then I got a 720 today.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the
I don't
base is
know.
like out of the chest you can get 700 and above. The vendors just sell 689.
Yeah, I got
here,
no.
I
The
think.
vendors are 700.
Are they?
You can get 700 out of the chest as well. But I got a 720 to drop out of a chest today. So I don't
There you
really
go.
know, to be completely honest. But yeah, that's essentially what I've been doing.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's no point in really doing it though if you already have the gear. Then.
Yeah, it's a catch-up
yeah,
mechanic.
It's good to level alts and stuff.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's a catch-up mechanic. 100%. Like
Because I'm like mythic geared from a year ago still, and that's still the like 725 and up.
yeah, this is just to get you like ready for questing in Legion. That's all.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Helps
I'm
Demon
having
Hunters
fun
catch
with it.
up. But yeah, it's neat. They're just like horde mode little
The
timed
only,
events.
and you know what, I may get shit for complaining about it, and it's fucking stupid, but I get so pissed off when I'm doing invasions, and yes, I am on a PvP server, and I get that you
You're
can
not
do
the only one.
PvP, but we're fucking doing the same objective. Like, why do you gotta be an asshole and sit on top of a building and just kill other people that don't stand a chance against you? Like, I get why, whatever, it's PvP, that can happen at any time.
Yeah.
But like it's just unnecessary. It's like we're all going for the same thing. We're all trying.
Mhm. Yeah, I know Jesse Cox has been very vocal about that on Twitter, and he's just been getting a ton of shit for it. They're just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't play a PvP server then, and people are just being immature about it.
I mean, I've seen complaints about it on the subreddit as well, and
Yeah,
I think valid complaints.
because it's very much, the Horde and the Alliance are working together once again to fight Gul'dan once again, and the Legion forces once again. And so it is a little bit confusing that, Alliance players or Horde players or whatever your opposite faction is can just sit there and snipe you as they're all trying to fight this, demon boss. It's destroying whatever city you happen to be outside.
I just die, and I like half the time I don't know from where because the person's like behind a fucking building or something.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm gonna accidentally right-click somebody and then like cast Consecrate and just be like, fuck, I just aggroed their entire raid group or something when I'm doing an invasion.
Exactly.
But yeah, I've essentially done the same thing. I've done less invasions. I leveled the Demon Hunter to 100, and then I caught my Paladin set up, or caught them up with invasions and got their UI set up once again because everything's broken, and that's the lovely thing about a new patch is that all your add-ons need to be upgraded.
Yeah, I
had to reconfigure dominoes and recount and all that kind of fun stuff.
After doing all that, I just decided to install a completely new UI and just start fresh because it felt like it would be easier and for me to rather than fix everything, which it kind of was.
There you go.
So much more minimal amount of add-ons and stuff.
Yeah, mine's slightly different than what it was before, but I'm pretty happy with the way it looks.
I essentially, if you've ever seen Towley's, it's similar to how he has his and stuff, and I like it.
Nice. But yeah, I'm looking forward to checking out these new quest lines that they've introduced yesterday. It looks like it sent you to Dalaran and you're working alongside Bran, Bronzebeard once again as you go through Old War, which is interesting. Curious to see why we're revisiting Old War. Learn Magani Bronzebeard's information. Oh, that's the other thing I have to do is go through and do the invasion quest line as an Alliance player to see how that plays out, because I'm curious. Harkens back to the whole wanting to know everything that happens kind of a deal, because I've only done it on the Horde side right now.
Oh, it's I'm excited. I mean, I won't get to play much when it releases, just because I'll be going on vacation on the 1st, and this comes out on the 30th. So,
yeah.
But I'm pretty pumped for everything that's going on so far with WoW.
Yeah, me too. I know, as Joe was saying at the top of the show, we're all Blizzard fans, and WoW is one of the games that we all play together regularly, and we're looking forward to getting back in the saddle once again.
Fully agreed.
It's a comfort game. It's right up there with like chicken noodle soup in terms of comforting. You just hop in there, it's familiar, it's comfy, you know what you're doing. You get in there, you have a good time, you get out. And then you ignore it
100%.
until the next expansion comes out.
Pretty much, yeah. It's usually how the cycle goes with them.
There's no retention really anymore. It's kind of the shitty part.
No.
I just think people
There used
lose
to be
interest too quickly on
constant
things.
content.
I don't know if it's necessarily content, but
No, but Nick, I mean, a year is way too long for the next raid content to come out.
no, I agree.
It should be like 4 months,
Yeah, I
5
agree
months.
too. It's funny because they know it's a problem and they've tried to address fixing it before, and then they were just like, yeah, we're sorry, we failed again. Like they originally
Yeah.
talked one point about having the expansions on 2-year cycles. That
Yeah.
didn't happen. Even the year they talked about it, that didn't happen. They got close,
I know.
but still failed.
I know Legion's been in development for quite a long time, so I know they've been planning on doing this for a while now. And I
Hopefully
think
that
they
means they've
finally
got lots of
realized what they
content.
need to do
Yeah.
to satisfy players and stuff.
I mean, hell, if we're already on 7.1 and it hasn't already, and the expansion hasn't even officially released yet, hopefully that means they've got more stuff ready to go once the expansion does come out.
Yeah, you would hope,
Yeah.
but We'll see.
Yeah, going back to we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll be right there
That's
waiting with you
how
guys.
my attitude is towards most gaming things nowadays. Is well, you can say whatever you want, but we'll see because the amount of times that gaming companies disappoint nowadays happen more than they come through. I feel like so.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that has
So,
to
I
do
mean,
with
that's just
modern
from my experience in the
expectations.
games that I play and stuff. At least,
Hmm.
that's to be the case.
We got Cuphead and Mugman to look forward to still with
We'll see.
an
We'll see if
unofficial
that comes out
release
this year.
date.
It's supposed to.
Yeah,
Supposed to come out this year.
it's been
The
unconfirmed for
developer told me.
2016 for a year.
Developer told me this year,
Yeah, we'll see.
and then they decided they wanted to change their game
Yeah,
because
add
people.
fucking platforming to it for some reason. Do you think it's getting the No Man's Sky treatment? It's gone from like small little indie darling to you're our indie game now. Be a $60 title.
I think that people expected. I don't know, expected too much, but like they made it seem like. To be honest, I thought there was platforming in the game originally, and I think that's their own fault.
I disagree. I saw from the out of the gate for me. Jesus Christ, I can't talk today. It was a boss rush game.
I don't know. It seemed like I didn't pay a lot of attention to it, but just from the little amount of attention I did, to me it just seemed like it was like a platforming, and then it had bosses and whatnot type of game.
Do you think that's just an assumption you've made on your end due to prior experiences, though? Because you're used to seeing like a big boss fight at the end of a level. Is that just like
Possibly,
a
yeah.
condition that gaming
Possibly,
is
yeah.
done to you?
I think that I don't know. It was the type of game that like. I'm trying to think of what it might have reminded me of, but it definitely like looked to me like it was a game that had platforming, whether they said so or not. Just from I didn't read too much about it. I just watched mainly trailers and stuff like that. It at least looks like a game that would have some sort of platforming in it.
Okay. Yeah, the thought had just occurred to me. I was just like, oh yeah, I wonder if that's just because we expect big bosses at the end of platforming levels and a bunch of different genres of games, not just 2D platformers. Something that Sonic conditioned us to. It's something Mega Man conditioned us to expect. I like
Yeah.
fun stuff. Mighty fucking number 9. Oh, you want to talk about another game that disappointed people that had high expectations? Add that one on the list.
Yeah, I didn't play it, but
yeah, we talked about that one on the episode that you weren't on. Funnily enough.
That's good.
Yeah,
I didn't play it, like I said, but whatever.
Yeah, we'll see.
A lot of games seem to be disappointing nowadays.
We'll see. Yeah. Is there any other topics you guys wanted to discuss tonight before we kind of wrap things up?
Not that I can think of.
How about you, Joe?
No.
Alrighty. I think we'll call the James Bond edition of the Left Click Culture podcast a wrap there, before I once again lose my ability to speak, even more so than I already have. As always, ooh, that's a lot of people in the Google Doc for some reason. My name is Chris.
I think it's me.
I'm your host. Oh, okay. And we'll see you guys live next week, Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern specifically, on twitch.tv/leftclickculture, where you can expect more gaming news and headlines from your average user's perspectives, that being us. Maybe slightly elevated average users for like, maybe not system admins, but local admins, maybe somewhere around there. That's the perspective we're coming from. Yeah, this week I had a new episode of Inside go live on my YouTube channel today, and that's all that's coming out this week. I'm editing an Overwatch video for you guys for the Left Culture channel in addition to the podcast, and I'll have a new GTA video, the heist finale video for you guys at some point as soon as I get the editing done on that, hopefully this weekend, so you can expect that probably next Thursday, not tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I've got coming down my pipeline. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/ChrisButlerII, spelled just as you see it underneath me on the frame right there. And YouTube, you'll find my link to my YouTube on my Twitch and my Twitter pages. And yeah, if you guys want to get in touch, feel free. Know where to find me now. What do you got coming down the pipeline, Joe?
Well, I think I'm going to be redoing some of the portfolio stuff next. I'm going to be tweaking some of my YouTube thumbnails and remarketing some of the content there to get it out again. I have a lot of old stuff that needs to be tweaked, refreshed, so it kind of matches the current style I'm doing, and then I'll be pushing that out, and then I'll be coming up with new stuff for Lift Click eventually, and just kind of got out of my 2 month gap here. Not 2 months, kind of like a couple weeks here where I've just been struggling to get back at the 24/7 work pace, and finally getting there, but it's a struggle sometimes when you go on
Oh yeah.
vacation to jump back into crazy work hours. So
Yeah. We didn't even go on vacation, but it took us a little bit to recover and get back on the
yeah,
podcast train, so I can only imagine the extent to which it affected you.
yeah.
Yeah, you can find him at JoeLongiFX on Twitter, just as it's spelled out, underneath his beautiful diva portrait that he's had this episode of the podcast.
Oh, shout out Diva Main,
Best
Overwatch,
diva NA. That's what I'm
Diva
hearing, right?
NA. Yeah. So I'm trying to get my rankings up on what's it called?
The Overwatch site?
What's the yeah, what is that? No, not that one. That's the one that we
Not the official one. No.
No, nobody likes that one.
You were talking about it
It's
yesterday, and I already forgot what it was.
holy crap.
But yeah, while you look
Overbuff.
Overbuff.
Overbuff. Yes. Okay.
I'll have to include that in the link dump. Should I remember? I'll try to. I'm making a note of it right now. But yeah, we'll have to check that out. I've yet to check it out, even though you've talked about it, because they took down Overwatch.gg, actually, which is the old one. The old stats site that everybody used to use. That one no longer exists. Sadly.
That's weird.
Yep.
Maybe they got sued.
Maybe they got sent to that old cease and desist once Blizzard did theirs.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like the inverse, but sure. Somebody owns the trademark, so.
Well, no, I was just saying once Blizzard set up their own stats page, they were just like, hey, yeah,
I know.
can't do that anymore.
What I'm saying is, like, the one they made looked like something Blizzard would have made, and then they were the first to do it. So.
Yeah.
But I'm saying since it was called Overwatch.gg, I mean, it's kind of like, well.
Yeah.
A little bit misleading if you own the trademark for Overwatch.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah. How about you, Nick? What do you have going on?
Just counting down the days till vacation. Can't wait. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Gonna be a good time.
Exciting.
Hopefully.
Get your hands on zombies,
Very.
maybe, which is something that we didn't actually discuss on the podcast tonight.
Yeah, it's it's
Excited
not on
about
my
it.
highest list of priorities, but I'm definitely going to check it out. Definitely doing COD 4 or remastered first. It's like number one for what I want to do first.
Enjoy that line. I'm sure it'll be long.
I think it'll be fine. They'll have. I feel like they'll have a lot of stations set up and stuff.
Okay, okay.
So
I've never
it
done.
should be a good time.
Nice. Awesome.
Hoping.
You'll have to do a special report for us on your experience at COD XP.
Yeah, no, I
And for
definitely will.
loyal viewers.
When that comes up.
Maybe grab some B-roll if you can while you're down there. If
No,
you're
I'm
allowed
definitely
to.
gonna be taking a lot of stuff, videos, and what I can.
Finally make a video.
We'll see.
Yeah, looking forward to
Be like
your
Nick on
experience.
tour.
Yeah.
Sure.
But awesome.
Put it on
Say
your
that.
page.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, we are Left Click Culture at Left Clicked, past tense on Twitter, and over on twitch.tv/Left Click Culture. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I said, we'll be live again next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you guys then. Thank you so much. Goodbye.